Hello, and welcome to Ham Radios for people that do not have a ham radio license, where I talk about ham radios from a non-ham radio operator or emergency preparedness point of view. This means that I will not be talking about QRPs or spurious RF emissions or making contacts with anonymous men around the world. Instead, I will demonstrate things about this radio that actually matter to people that want a two-way radio for emergency or tactical communications. In other words, this video is not for people that use their radios from the basement to chat with anonymous men all around the world. This video is intended for people that see current events unfolding around them and are planning accordingly. This is the BTech UV-25X4 25-watt VHF UHF radio. And before I say anything else about this radio, allow me to take a moment to point out that you do not need any kind of license to purchase this radio, nor do you need any kind of license to possess or own this radio. And most important, you do not need any kind of license to talk about this radio on the internet, contrary to what some people will no doubt be crying about in the comments. However, the FCCs have decreed that in order to transmit on our free airwaves with this radio, you should first pay the government and take a test. Well, I am very proud to say that I have not been a licensed ham radio operator for over 50 years, so keep watching to see if I go to jail or not when I transmit on this ham radio without a ham radio license. The cost for the BTech UV-25X4 second generation radio is about $135. I got mine from the Brushbeater store. Actually, they sent it to me at no cost so that I could share it with you, my favorite viewer. And just in case you were not already aware, the Brushbeater store specializes in selling stuff to armed and prepared Americans. So I will put a link to this radio at the Brushbeater store in the information section below. I will also include an affiliate link to this radio on Amazon if that happens to be your preferred vendor. So when you purchase the BTech UV-25X4 second generation radio, in the box you will receive a user manual. The user manual is well written and very thoroughly explains every feature of the radio and how to use it, and this manual is written in perfect American English. You will receive a mounting bracket and associated mounting bracket hardware and stuff. You will receive an RJ45 to K1 type audio adapter. This allows you to optionally plug in and use standard audio accessories that use this type of a K1 type connector. This is not intended for programming the radio. So if you have one of the regular boofwang type programming cables, which does fit, it will not work. Instead, you will need a PC04 type programming cable, which costs about $22. Affiliate link below. I will talk more about this momentarily. If you have an audio device, you can optionally plug this into the radio and then plug your audio device there and the microphone here. This is an optional piece of equipment. You will receive a cigarette lighter plug for power. One end goes into those holes that you find in your vehicle. The other end plugs into the radio and provides electrical energies for the radio. You will receive a microphone with many buttons and controls, with an RJ45 type connector. That's what plugs into the radio, and or the aforementioned Y adapter, which is again optional. And you will receive the BTech UV-25X4 second generation UHF VHF radio. The very first thing you will notice about this radio is its small stature. It is very compact, making it perfect for mounting in your Jeep, your truck, or your killdozer. And you can permanently mount it in your vehicle using the aforementioned mounting hardware, or you can temporarily move it vehicle to vehicle by simply using the previously mentioned cigarette lighter plug. So if you had a magnetic mount antenna, you could very easily and very quickly toss the radio into any vehicle and use it. On the front of the radio, you will find the standard buttons and knobs, on-off control, volume and channel changing, a VFO memory button, call button, exit ABCD, I don't even remember what that does, FM radio button, I will discuss that more momentarily, and a monitor button. This is the hole in which you stick the microphone into, thusly. On the rear, you will find an SO239 connector for plugging your standard PL259 antenna cable into. You will find an audio jack and a data jack for plugging in the previously mentioned PC04 programming cable. That's what you would use to plug it into your computer to program the radio, should you choose to do it that way. The entire case is a Heatsink, and if you are transmitting on the radio for long periods of time, the Heatsink will get hot. However, do not let your heart be troubled because it is supposed to do that. There is even a small sticker to remind you that it will get hot. That sticker is there so that you do not go around complaining in online forums that it gets hot. The radio also gets slightly warm to the touch when just sitting there and doing nothing, if it's powered on. This is also completely normal, and there is no need for alarm, and no need for posting stupid comments all over the internet complaining that it gets warm. This radio can receive regular commercial FM radio stations by simply pressing the previously mentioned FM button, and the radio can receive and transmit in the VHF band from 136 to 174 MHz and from 220 to 270 MHz, and it can transmit and receive in the UHF band from 400 to 520 MHz. This radio is not locked, meaning that it can transmit on the ham frequencies, but it can also transmit outside of those ham frequencies, including transmitting on GMRS, MERS business frequencies, and yes, even the NOAA weather frequencies. And that is one of the key features of this radio that makes it both desirable and valuable to people that plan accordingly. Because this radio is not constrained by stupid rules or regulations like many other radios, and also because it doesn't cost very much. In other words, this radio provides many versatilities. And unlike some of the high-end and far more expensive ham radios, this radio is far less confoculating to operate and much easier to use, something that could come in very handy if using the radio in a tactical or emergency situation. As you can see on the screen, this radio can monitor and listen to 4 different frequencies at the same time. However, you do not have to listen to 4 frequencies at the same time. If, like me, you are easily confuckled, you can set the radio to monitor just 3 or just 2 or just 1 frequency for less confuckularity. This radio is repeater capable for both ham and GMRS repeaters. The radio can store 200 channels, any combination of standard radio-to-radio simplex channels or repeater channels. And I should mention that this is an analog radio. It is not digital, meaning that it can transmit and receive only analog FM frequencies, no DMR, no P25, no encryption, just standard, good old-fashioned VHF and UHF, just like Grandma used to make. You can use this radio in your car, which is what it is designed for. However, you can also use it as a base station radio. Just get yourself a 12-volt DC power supply and connect it to either a magnetic mount antenna on a cookie sheet and stick it in your window, or you can connect it to a large antenna on your roof. If you are using it in your house as a base station, you could use something like this Duracom LPX14, which is a very simple power supply that can power up to about a 50-watt radio. Just stick the red wire into the red hole and the black wire into the black hole and turn it on. This costs about $140. Affiliate link below. And while that is a great power supply for powering a car radio from inside your house, it does have one major design flaw. And that flaw is, if the power goes out, it does not work. That is why I use this Jackery Explorer solar power station. This just happens to be a larger one, and it can run this radio for days or even weeks. And you can also plug other stuff into it like a TV, a computer, a cell phone, or other radios. These range in cost from a couple of $100 up to over $1,000, depending upon which one you choose. I will put an affiliate link below to all the different sizes that they make. The radio has a color screen, as you can see, and it is very customizable, if you're into that. And it has an adjustable microphone gain. And this is probably my favorite feature of this radio. The adjustable mic gain allows you to turn down the microphone input volume. So if you are transmitting from a loud vehicle or from the battlefield, the person you are talking to will hear more of your voice and less of the background noises. An adjustable microphone gain is a great feature. For the antenna, which plugs into this hole and is sold separately, whether that antenna will be on your car, on a cookie sheet in the window of your house, or on the roof of your house, it is important that you use an antenna that is tuned for whichever frequencies you plan to transmit on. This radio has a very wide range of frequencies that it can transmit on, and most antennas are not made to transmit on such a wide and varying range of frequencies. If all you ever plan to do is transmit on GMRS frequencies, then all you need is a GMRS antenna. If you know that you will only transmit on the ham 1.2 meter frequencies, then get an antenna for that. But otherwise, you will want a tri-band or quad-band antenna. And I should also clarify that this is not the kind of ham radio that will let you talk to people all around the world. This is the kind of radio that transmits in the VHF and UHF bands only, and it is good for local or tactical communications. And when I say local, with this radio, you can expect to get FARs from a couple of miles up to 70 miles or so of FARs. If you use a well-located repeater, you can extend those FARs up to maybe 100 or 200 miles. For eSample, I live on a golden hilltop overlooking the slums below, and I can see 20 to 30 miles in almost all directions. With a mobile antenna connected to this radio while parked in my garage, I can talk to other mobile radios 20 or 30 miles away, and I can very easily talk with walkie-talkie radios about 15 miles away. I am also able to hit repeaters with this radio using a mobile antenna on my Jeep 70 miles away. If I connect this radio to the big antenna on my roof, I get even more FARs. However, if where you are, there are a lot of buildings or trees or houses full of calorically challenged people, you may not get as many FARs with this or any other radio. What I am saying is, nobody can tell you exactly how many FARs you will get using this radio from your house or your car. However, it is safe to say that your FARs will vary. The box says that this is a 25-watt radio, and I would be remiss if I did not check that. And we can see that on GMRS channel 16, we are getting just under 14 watts. On 146.250 gigahertz, we are getting 17.3. And in the ham 70 centimeter band, 446.000, we are getting 14.7 watts. Not quite the 25 watts promised to us on the box, But let us not forget, this thing cost $135, so we shouldn't be that surprised. And even though that's not what the box promises, this radio still has many FARs, as I just described to you. This radio is Chirp compatible, so you can use the free Chirp software to program it. However, you will need the previously mentioned PC04 cable to connect the radio to your computer. Affiliate link below. And it is important to note that a computer and Chirp are not required to use this radio. However, out of the box, the radio comes with only 4 frequencies pre-entered. And unless those 4 frequencies just happen to be the 4 frequencies that you plan to use, you will have to do at least some very simple programming. But that can be as simple as switching to VFO mode and typing in the frequency that you want to use. And you can do all of the fancy programming right in the menus. No computer needed. However, that will require that you invest some time in reading the user manual. Using Chirp is much easier and much faster. But remember, real men can program their radios in the field the hard way. As mentioned previously, this radio costs only about $130. It is not a high-end, high-precision device. This is an inexpensive radio that does everything that most people that are preparing for a bad day would ever need. And because the radio is not locked, it can even do some things that many of the much more expensive radios cannot do. And it does it all much easier than many of those much more expensive high-end radios. So if you are looking for a small, inexpensive, unlocked multi-band radio to add to your survival pile, then this might just be the inexpensive radio for you.